Okay, good morning, guys. So we are going to start looking at trigonometry in non-right angled triangles. So the triangle we need to draw up is this one. You will notice that the angle and the side kind of pair up. So you'll see the two pinks, you'll see the reds, and you will see the blues. And those three sides match up to each other. Okay, that is the key for both the sine rule, which is what we're doing today, and the cosine rule, which is next lesson. So the rule in itself is just A over sine A is equal to B over sine B, which is equal to C over sine C. If you have actually done a little bit of your own research, you might see that it says sine A over A, which is sine B over B, which is sine C over C. Okay, they're both exactly the same thing. They're just written in a slightly different way. So it doesn't really matter which way it's written. Most people use this format in order to find out sides, so they rearrange less. And most people use this format to find the angle, so you don't have to rearrange so much. Okay, that's all there is to it. So let's get started. So I'm just going to do a couple of sides and then a couple of angles. So in terms of sides, let's just do A first of all. So I have A, I have 46 degrees, I have 72 degrees, and I have 6 centimeters. So I'm going to label it up. There's my small a, there's my big A. So opposite angle to the side, that's the way I'm labeling it. This one, I don't really have a label, so I'm just going to put B and B. You'll notice I don't have this angle this side. Doesn't matter. If you do want to label it up, that's fine. I personally don't see a need for it. So because I don't have C, I am just going to use the A and the B. So I want to find the side, so I'm going to put A on the top. So A over sine A equals B over sine B. You will notice I haven't put the third part. You're not expected to put all three parts. You're just expected to use two of the parts. All they're trying to do by giving you the sine rule is acknowledge that if there was a C and a C there, you could work it out. So if this was a missing side and they gave you this angle, you could still work it out. But instead of saying A over sine A equals B over sine B, you'd say A over sine A is equal to C over sine C. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so anyway, going back to this, I now have this set up. So I only want A, so I'm going to multiply both sides by sine A. So that's going to be B times sine A all over sine B. Okay, and now this is the way I want it. So I'm going to substitute in the numbers. So I've got A equals, so instead of B, I'm going to put 6. Instead of big A, I'm going to put 72 degrees. And instead of uppercase B, I am going to put 46 degrees. And now I am going to type that in to my trusty calculator. Sine 46. Okay, so you should have 7.9327 . Okay, they've asked for 3 significant figures, so I'm going to put 7.93 centimeters to 3 significant figures. That is your first one. So the next one I'm going to do is the C. So I've got this is 110, this is 36, this is 14 centimeters, that is C. Okay, so if I'm labeling up my triangle now, I'm going to call this one big C because there's a small c there. I'm going to call this A, angle A, this is side A, and then I've got side B, and I've got uppercase B for that angle there. Okay, you will notice I do have the C, so I know it's going to be C over sine C. But in terms of the other sides, so my missing angle, the angle that they give me is, my remaining angle here is 36, but that's A, but I don't have this A that matches with it. Okay, and then for B, I don't have this angle, but I have the side. Oh, I'm putting my hand in the way. You guys can't even see. So I've got the small b, but I don't have that angle b. Okay, so otherwise I have to find the side in order to use A, or I need to find this missing angle so I can use B. So finding this side isn't something that we have right now, so we're not going to do that. But I can find this missing side because angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So this would be 34, because 180, take away 110, take away 36, would leave me with 34 degrees there, which would mean I now have my B. So if I have my B, that means I'm going to have B over sine B. Okay, so rearrange this to find C. C is equal to B multiplied by sine C all over sine B. Substitute in your values. So C is as it is, B is 14 times sine 110, all over sine, and this sine B is 34 degrees. Okay, so you just need to type that in. So it's sine 34. Okay, which is 23.526 ... Okay, and then you have 23.5 centimeters to 3 significant figures. Okay, so for this one, we are going to find the angles. So I'm only going to do a couple of questions for this. So previously I did A and C, so this time I'm going to do 2 and 4. So I've got this one, which is 80 degrees. This is X. This is 15. And this is 8. Okay, so let's label it up. I've got my A, I've got my small a there, I've got my B, I've got my small b. I've got my matching pair, so I can go straight in to the sine rule, okay? My angle is what I want to know, so this time I'm going to put sine A over small a, and then sine B over B, okay? But because I want to find out just A, I need to rearrange. So I'm going to multiply both sides by smaller case a first, which would be A times sine B all over B. But I only want to find A. I don't want to find the rest. So I've got to do the inverse of sine on both sides. So in order to get to A, I would have the inverse of sine and then whatever is written in there. So you've got A times sine B over B. And then once you've reached that, you can just substitute your answers in. So instead of A, I'm going to put X. Then I'm going to have sine the inverse. Small a is going to be 8. I'm going to multiply that by sine that angle. And then I'm going to divide by smaller case b. Pop it into your trusty calculator. So once you pop it into your calculator, you should get that, which is 31.683. So you have 31.7 degrees to 3 significant figures. I know it doesn't say it on this page, but it said it on the last page, so I'm just going to do 3 significant figures again. Okay, and last but not least, let's do question number 4. Okay, so draw the diagram as per usual. You've got X, then you've got 70 degrees, you've got 25 centimeters, and you have 14 centimeters. Okay, so label up your sides. So I'm going to call that A and this A. I'm going to call this B and this B. And then I'm going to call this C and this C. Okay, again, like the other question we had previously, this is something that's just going to take a little bit of time to think about. So we might not be able to find the missing angle, this missing angle, because I don't have that side. But what can I find out? I could find out this angle right here. So this C, I could actually find out this C. So that's what I'm going to do, because I know if I have my 70 and I have C, could I find out X? Yes, okay? So instead of knowing the angle straight away off the bat, it just means you have to do a working out and then just have one extra step. So I want to find out C, and because it's an angle, I'm going to put sine C over C equals sine A. So it's these ones. I'm going to just forget about X for now. X doesn't mean anything right now. I'm going to find out X at the end. So then it will be sine A over A. Okay, so sine C. will be C times sine A all over A. And then C will be the inverse of C times sine A over A. And now input those values. So C is just going to stay as C. Inverse of sine is going to stay as that. Little c will be 14. And then the angle of A is 70 degrees. And then small a is 25. Okay, now pop it into the calculator. So I've got 14 times sine 70 over 25. Okay, so that's the angle you should come up with. Okay, I am not actually going to round that because you shouldn't be rounding anything until the end anyway. So for the Casios, anyone that has one of the Casios, this answer is automatically stored into answer. So this is a bit of a memory bank for whatever your last answer was. If you don't have an answer key on your specific calculator, you need to understand how to use your memory banks, be it just M or be it A, B, C, D, E, F. There's quite a few that have over 5 memory banks. So and they have some sort of store or recall function. You need to learn how to use that if you don't have this one. So I do have this one. So what I now need to do, if I know this one is 31.75, I'll do 180, take away 70, take away the answer. So once I do 180, take away the 70, take away the answer. So I've got 180, take away 70, take away C, would then leave me with 78.249, ... Okay, I am going to say, because x equals this, x is equal to 3 significant figures again, so 78.3 degrees to 3 significant figures. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, but I will set you some work. There's a couple of challenging questions in there, but you should be able to get them done. Just make sure you think about your other triangle rules. So be it isosceles triangle, having 2 equal angles, or be it angles in a triangle adding up to 180 degrees. And you need to remember you can still use these rules with right angled triangles. It's just because you know the rules for the other right angled triangles, a lot of people don't use this. So as I say, the more maths you know, the more methods you have to solve any kind of questions. So these are your 4 examples. You have a fair bit of time to get on with some questions. So crack on, have fun. Ask me any questions if you need to. Okay, take care, guys. Toodles.